I said, you sure you got the right guy? He said, and this is what he says. He says, Romero Dijon Tally. I said, so you just gave me a Mexican name, huh? You just gave me a Mexican name. Y'all keep doing it. You just gave me a Mexican name. Now, I am mixed with everything, but I do not present or come across as, what I'm mixed with. If you're looking at me, you would think I'm either Puerto Rican or, or black or, something that's nothing other major. You know what I'm saying? Either way, that's neither here nor there. Yo, so y'all, I gotta tell y'all something. So I hadn't made any other video because I've been dealing with this mess since Tuesday of this week. I think it was Tuesday, yeah. I went to Dallas to go see my girl, and I was just pretty much just chilling with her and whatnot. And on the way back, see, I stay on the west side of Fort Worth, so I stay on the outskirts. So on the way back, I jumped on I-35, you know what I'm saying, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I noticed there's like 3 SUVs behind me. You know what I'm saying? They're behind me, and it just felt weird. It felt weird. So I remember moving from the right lane into the middle lane because I was trying to get around some traffic. So I'm in the middle lane, and I look back, and I'm like, looking at the door mirror, trying to see how many vehicles is back there. I'm looking at my other mirror because I got the extra mirror that go on the side where you can actually see your blind spots. So I'm looking in that mirror, and I'm seeing it's 3 SUV units, like long units. So I'm like, what the hell? So I get back into the right lane, and I'm at this point, I'm on I-35. I'm heading down the highway. I'm about to head into Arlington because, in the distance you can see Six Flags. You can see the rides and stuff in the distance. And then next thing you know, I see lights going off, and they blowing their horn, and I'm looking at the rearview mirror. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck now? So, I pull over, and, I let my window down to a crack. I want to say this much of a crack. Yes, I do have tinted windows, okay? But I can hear you, you can hear me. So I look in the back, and I'm trying to make sure I'm good. I ain't doing nothing wrong, so I'm using my signals and stuff like that like I supposed to. What are they pulling me over for? It got to be a mistake, you know what I'm saying? So they pulled me over, and I'm seeing hella dudes get out these in tactical uniform. ICE pulled me over. 3 whole units of ICE agents pulled me over. And now at this point, I'm on the side of the highway surrounded by hella ICE agents talking about, we need you to get about your vehicle. I said, no. He said, I can't see in there. For my safety, I need you to let the windows all the way down, and I need you to exit the vehicle. I'm like, no, I'm not getting out of my vehicle, and I'm not letting my window down no further than what it is. You can hear me, I can hear you. He said, well, we can't see in there. I said, that's for my protection. My protection. I don't care about your protection. You got all these people out here with you. This is for my protection. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, I said, what is this about? What's going on? He said, well, we're ICE. I said, I see your ICE. Again, what's going on? What do y'all got? What y'all got going on with me? He said, well, an employer has reported you as an undocumented immigrant. I said, are you serious? Employer, huh? Employer? I said, you sure you got the right guy? He said, and this is what he says. He says, Romero Dijon Tally. I said, so you just gave me a Mexican name, huh? You just gave me a Mexican name. Y'all keep doing it. You just gave me a Mexican name. Now, I am mixed with everything, but I do not present or come across as, what I'm mixed with. If you're looking at me, you would think I'm either Puerto Rican or, or black or, something that's nothing other major. You know what I'm saying? either way, that's neither here or there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I said, again, what is this about? He said, we need you to exit the vehicle. I said, I'm not getting out this vehicle. He said, you can get out this vehicle or we can get you out this vehicle. I said, you get me out this vehicle, you're going to be getting yourself out the hospital. You playing with me, I'm going to play back with you. He said, sir, I don't think this is what you want. I said, no, y'all, I don't think this is what y'all want to do. Because if I ain't famous today, I'm going to be famous tomorrow. I'm telling you now, because what I'm going to do to y'all, if y'all get done doing me like this, I'm doing this for every last one of us. Because y'all already deporting people that's from the United States, whether they got documents or not, and y'all talking about none of that. Man, I said, so what are y'all trying to do? He said, we're deporting you. I said, you're deporting me where? Where you're from? I said, so y'all gonna deport me back to East St. Louis, Illinois? Because that's where I'm from. Born and raised, that's where I'm from. No, we're deporting you back to your homeland. Bitch, I'm from America. Born and raised. I am from America. You got to have the wrong. Didn't no employers report me as an illegal immigrant. That didn't happen. I'm not over here on no visa. I live here, born and raised here, have documentations. He's like, no, none of that matters. I said, the fuck you do? I said, the fuck you mean it don't matter? He said, sir, you're making this very difficult and we can't get aggressive on you. I said, if you get aggressive, I'm going to get aggressive. We just going to be aggressive. I said, Lord, because at this point, they getting more aggressive. I'm getting a little scared, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting a little scared. I ain't trying to get pop, you know what I'm saying? This is behooving me. I'm like, yo, what's really up? I said, Lord, you know what? Your boyfriend will make an early vacation to you. I'm coming home early, Lord. I'm coming home early because if this goes down how I think it's going to go down, I'm coming to you with a gas tank full of gas. I'm letting you know right now. I'm going to do it for all of us that they doing wrong out here. I'm going to make a scene. And I'm going to drop some bodies on the side of this highway. I'm coming to you with God's speed. I say I'm coming home to your father. If they go down the way they think go down, I'm going this back seat and I'm going to light this bitch up. I said, Lord, don't do it to me. Protect me. Protect me. I still got things to do in this world. I got people to see, people to help. I got things to do. So I called my attorney on the phone. And I'm telling him what's going on. He said, put me on speaker. He said, ask to speak to one of the supervisors. That's like, we all supervisors. I said, well, let me speak to the one that's in charge right now. Who's in charge of this unit? That'll be me. Well, come to the window. You got to let the window. No, you good right there. You can hand me your phone. No, I'm not going to hand you my phone. I'm going to send the speaker out the window and you're going to talk like that. No, I need to have the phone. No, you're not having my property. No, we're not doing that. My attorney tells him, what's going on? What seems to be the problem? We have an employer that reported him as an illegal immigrant and we're coming to deport him. He said, my client is born and raised here and has all his documents. I said, if you can look up his profile, I said, you clearly don't know who you're dealing with. He's a federal government security officer. He's a high-ranking officer for the federal government. He works for Homeland Security and FEMA. If you look up his profile, you will see he's from America. None of that matters. And he said, I'm confused. What do you mean it don't matter? If he has proof that he's here and he's where he's supposed to be at, how can you deport him somewhere where he's not from? Now, Homeland Security, we already know what's going on with this situation. We already know. We do projects and assist Border Patrol. So we know what they're actually doing. They're sending people to El Salvador, to the prison camp. They're not even deporting them back home. And now they so crazy out here. They getting all aggressive, sending people, actual Americans over there. They already got lawsuits up the yin yang right now. Y'all be careful out here, bro. Be careful. Because I was on I-35 leaving out of Dallas, going into Arlington, trying to get back home to Fort Worth. To the Fort Worth area. Y'all be careful, bro. Be careful. If you see black units, they're going to be in a long SUV. It's going to look like a Tahoe or a G-Wagon. It's going to look something of that manner. It's going to be unmarked. Be careful. If you see more than one behind you, trailing you, get off the highway and go to the nearest police station. If they're following you to the nearest police station, immediately run in the police station and you let them know what's going on. Do not get scared by these people. either portraying to be ICE or being actual ICE agents taking you in. If you know you've done nothing wrong, you are allowed to protect yourself. That's your right. Y'all be careful. I got away, and if y'all need any advice, please contact me. But y'all be careful out here. This is a word, because a lot of people in Dallas is going through this right now. California going through this right now. Other states are going through this right now. Y'all be careful. God bless.
See, this is the problem that I have with a lot of stuff, especially when it deals with social media. You'll have a lot of these paid sites, especially these paid platforms, or people who are on X with the blue check marks, and they'll purposefully put out information knowing the fact that a lot of people will not listen too carefully enough in order to pick up on certain things to identify what is and what isn't. So the person who posted this wanted to state that a black American was caught up in ICE. That was the main head part, right? Because people are still trying to go at the whole thing of like, oh, black Americans, this has to do with you. ICE is picking you up too. They're rounding you up. They're sending you to Honduras. They're sending you to Africa. They're sending you this. They're sending you to Antarctica, right? They're just sending black Americans in droves everywhere, right? We're just getting rounded up, picked up with the Haitians, the Africans, the Dominicans, whatnot or whatever, right? And we're just disappearing by millions. And you listen to the video long enough, you can pick up on the fact that the guy said he's a mixture of everything. Basically stating that he is multiracial, right? He does not, or at least for this video, he's not trying to specifically identify as one thing, as he stated himself. If we're dealing with purely a black American male, he's going to say that he is a black American male. He's going to say that he is a black man born and raised in such and such and such and whatnot, whatever, all this other. There's going to be certain types of verbiage that are normally going to be there in order for you to make a very good distinction in between what he is and what he isn't. What I find is that when it deals with people who are from other nationalities and cultures and such and so on and so on and so on, I find that they tend to leave a lot of things out. They want to try to make it seem like they're everything and not everything at the same time. They want to make it as though that they are different, but yet they still belong to a certain set group of people without specifically saying who those people should be. And this is how a lot of them tend to play games and try to group everybody directly into one pot. And these are the exact same people, while doing this, they'll specifically tell you on a whole nother conversation distinctly that they are this, that, and the third, and you are just specifically black, and you don't got this, you don't got that, and all this other type of stuff, while they have culture, they have traditions, they got religions, they got foods, they got dance, they got all of this stuff that they can go back to the days of Enoch, that they can just, just put directly in front of people. What do you have as a black American, right? They like to do those types of things. And again, I really dislike with a passion when people do things like this. I really do. And then you have other people, other content creators stating that black Americans are xenophobic. We're not xenophobic. We're tired of the slander. We're tired of the disrespect. We're tired of how a lot of people want to brand us with this type of broad brush, but yet these exact same people are not trying to go out there and brand or put a broad brush across Europeans or white Americans. They're not trying to do that. And especially if they're from the islands, like Jamaica, they're not trying to broad brush any of the Chinese who are currently taking over, just like the Chinese are taking over Africa, aka Neo-Africa. They're not doing that. And again, like I said before, a lot of these people, a lot of these places have their own problems and situations internally, which they need to really be focused on. But for whatever reason, in order to alleviate that worry, that concern, they tend to turn an eye and focus on black Americans and try to state that, oh, you guys are so problematic. You guys need to build up this. You guys need to come together. You guys need to work on this. You guys need to do this, that. Like, it's real amazing how all of these other melanated individuals can be so fixated and try to direct black people or point to what it is that black people should be doing. But then when we turn back and we look at their countries, we look at their nations, All of that advice that they're giving us, I don't see that happening. I don't see fields of Jamaicans that are living in the United States right now building Jamaica up, buying up the land, trying to keep it out of the hands of outside sources. I don't see that. I don't see it at all. I don't see a lot of the Haitians that want to speak wildly online. I don't see them who have planted themselves here in the United States. I don't see them making money so that they can, start getting their people directly out of debt, so that they can fix the situations that are going on there. The same thing with the Africans. Out of all the Africans that I see here, I don't see them sitting up there talking about like, yeah, I'm about to make $1 million here, and then I'm taking everything that I made and I'm going back to wherever it is I came from so I can buy up land, live like a king, and I can feed my. I don't see that happening. I don't see no Lion King type of story. I don't see no Wakanda story happening. I don't. But yet y'all got all the mouths in the world to specifically try to speak on Black Americans. And then when things like this happen, like with this guy here, where ICE was able to, I guess, identify that he must not be Black American, now people, want to get online and they want to try to tell their side, tell their story, and tell what it is that they had to specifically deal with and all these other types of things, as if, it's supposed to matter. It should have mattered when people decided to vote. It should have mattered when Black Americans told people what was going to happen down the pipeline if they opted to vote against themselves. Because as I've stated before, and I've seen this in my comment section just a little bit, where people are like, oh, but you think the voting for Kamala or the Democrats would have been in? I didn't sit up there and say do that. You could have sat up there and not voted, or you could have voted independent. You could have did anything else. Right? But this is what we have. This is what a lot of people are currently dealing with at this moment in time. This is why, and continuing on, a lot of Black Americans are like, hey, we're taking a rest up until 2028. We'll come back and see if everybody has learned their lesson. We'll come back and see. Right? Because I would love to peer directly into the future. Hopefully, the super volcano doesn't go off before then in Yellowstone, but I would like to be able to peer directly into the future and look and see and try to get a just a little bit of insight to see if people might have changed their minds, if people might have understood, and then was like, hey, you know what, Black Americans, we heard what you were saying. We had to go through this little bit of a hard time. All right, cool. So let's just make amends, and let's try to start over. Let's try to do something different. Because there's no such thing as starting over, because that'd be like having a clean slate. You're not going to make a clean slate. In order to make a clean slate, you got to build everything from the ground up. Right? Everything has to come from a thought, and then from a thought, you have to write it down as a plan. Then from a plan, it has to start to solidify into reality. Right? So there's a multitude of steps that have to happen, and nobody's going to have a clean slate. The only thing that we can do as Black Americans is, move forward and tread cautiously, because the same exact thing that happened before will inevitably happen again, because people will it to be. But like I said, my main thing about this whole situation with ICE, specifically when it deals with a lot of the Black immigrants, directly or African or from the islands or whatnot or whatever, y'all gotta really start fixing y'all mouths. Y'all gotta start really speaking with some type of respect. And again, Black Americans were not the people that wanted to start some type of diaspora war and all this other type of stuff. Like I said, I, as a Black American, I would never go over to Africa and try to, say that I'm better than the people of their continent. Even if I got myself established over in Africa, I would never act as though that I am better than you on your land, in your airspace, in your place of origin. I would never do that. That's so disrespectful. But like I said, as a Black American, that's how we're raised. We're raised to have that type of look on everything. Everybody else is not raised like that. So this is another thing when it deals with how it is that Black Americans are raised versus other people. We are raised to respect people, especially when we are on their turf, in their area, and all that other type of stuff. We're going to act as a guest because we are guests. Everybody else, when they come to the United States and they look at Black Americans, they never act as guests. they act as if they basically just built everything, and that Black Americans are the guests. Black Americans have just settled here, and they, you know, just made everything pop, made everything happen, and we're siphoning off of them. Like I said, it's crazy how people are trying to swap and spin this story as if they're the ones that did it, and they're not, when a lot of y'all really just got here. But, you know, it's like that. Anyways, I probably went into like a rant and a tangent, you know, at this moment in time, because I've been watching a lot of videos on social media and, you know, listening to a lot of things. Like I said, I'm pretty sure, just like myself, a lot of people are fed up. A lot of people are fed up with a lot of Black Americans are fed up with the types of disrespect that's specifically happening and going on directly out here, because it's crazy. 100%. Like I said, we're about to enter soon enough into August. We're still not even done with the year yet, and the disrespect has been going for a long time. And it just was not that long ago that everybody was singing "They Not Like Us." Literally, it was not that long ago. People were singing this for about a good year. It had a good year run. Everybody was singing it while missing what the main point of the song is. Crazy work. Crazy work. You literally had a Black American that made a song, "They Not Like Us," talking about culture vultures and everybody else trying to emulate and copy us, Black Americans. And everybody else is just sitting up there singing it like it's just the latest thing. I'm like, you do realize that y'all are all getting clowned, but you are trying to take part in the clowning of yourself. Like I said, you can't make this stuff up. And people still don't understand it still to this day. But whatever. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and my rant, tangent, whatever it was, in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.